Today I'm going to be talking about some exercises you can do to strengthen your arm, make it more resilient to injury. Basically, there's going to be two kind of categories of exercises I'm going to talk about. And one is going to be working on the forearm and shoulder muscles, and when we strengthen these muscles, they can take more stress while throwing, and less will be placed on our UCL muscle, or UCL ligament rather, so that it will be less likely to tear. And the other exercises will strengthen the actual rotator cuff muscles, and that will make these more resilient to injury. Now, when doing these exercises, you want to use a pretty small weight. I'm using this 3-pound dumbbell. If you don't have a small dumbbell, you could use a water bottle, a hammer, any object that has some weight but that can't be too heavy. Also, if you hold like 3 baseballs in one hand, that can work well with some of these exercises. Now, there's 9 exercises that I'm going to show you. You want to make sure you do them slowly, and you should want to do about 10 reps for each exercise. Now, if any of the exercises hurt, then decrease the weight, and if that still doesn't help, just don't do that exercise that day. Rest a few days and then do it. And then for any of these exercises, if still a few days later you still feel pain while doing the exercise, then even at light weights, then maybe consult a doctor because it's possible you could have an injury. Alright, the first exercise we're going to do is called internal rotation, because we're going to be rotating our arm towards the inside, towards the middle of our body. So you're going to start lying on the arm you're working on the bottom, holding the dumbbell like this, and you're just going to rotate it towards the center of your body, up like this. Just nice and slow. Hold it for 2 seconds at the top, and come back down. Nice and slow. It should be working the inside part of your elbow here. That's going to strengthen these muscles so you're less likely to tear your UCL. Now the next one is going to be the opposite, which is external rotation. So you're going to start with your arm straight across your body like this, the other hand, and then just straighten it, move it back. Slowly, hold for 2 seconds at the top, and back down. 1, 2, back down, nice and slow. And this is going to work the outside muscles of your shoulder around here, which helps put less stress on the UCL when these muscles are stronger, and thus preventing UCL injury. Now the next one we're going to do is called wrist flexion, because you're flexing your wrist. So you're just going to start supporting your wrist, making sure your wrist doesn't move like this, and you're just going to straighten your wrist, then bend it back down. And at the top, hold it for 2 seconds once again. Move back down, nice and slow. This is going to work some of your forearm muscles. And then you're just going to flip around and do the opposite. So your elbow's bent the other way, and you're straightened it the other way. This is wrist extension, working other muscles in your forearm to help strengthen your elbow and prevent UCL injuries. The next 2 exercises we're going to talk about are supination and pronation. You're going to hold the dumbbell this like a hammer with your elbow supported and your forearm on the ground. But then you're going to twist open as if a pitcher would when throwing a curveball, like this. And this is the supination part, which is going to work the supinator muscles in your elbow and forearm. This makes it so when you throw a curveball, you're using this muscle more and not your UCL as much, so it'll make it safer to throw a curveball. And then the opposite is just pronation, just rotating the other way. This is going to work your pronator muscle in your forearm, which will do the same thing for when you pronate and throw a changeup. Now we're going to transition from exercises that work on your forearm and elbow to exercises that work on our shoulders. So these exercises are going to strengthen our rotator cuff, make them more resilient and less likely to get injured. So you're going to hold the dumbbell thumb up like this, and if you imagine going straight out like this, or straight to the side, you want to be about 1/3 of the way from being straight out. So at a 30-degree angle in front of you. And go straight up till your arm is horizontal with the ground, and then straight back down. And hold for 2 seconds at the top. Nice and slow. If you feel any pain while doing this, then you should move to a lighter weight. And if you still feel pain at a super light weight, then just give it a rest for a few days. And if you still hurt, then it's possible you could be injured. You might want to consult a doctor. Alright, these last two exercises I'm going to show you are also going to work on your rotator cuff and strengthen it. For these two ones, you're going to need a table or something relatively high off the ground, like this bed. And you're going to have to hang your arm over the table, like I am right now. And grab your dumbbell. And the first one, we're just going to bend the elbow so the dumbbell comes up to the shoulder and comes back down. Before you do this exercise, you want to focus on rolling your shoulder back so your shoulder is holding itself up, and then do the exercise. This will help disengage your big muscles and work on just your rotator cuff muscles. Now this exercise you're going to be able to do with a very heavy weight, but you want to avoid doing that because we want to use a lightweight and only work on the rotator cuff muscles. Now the next one we're going to do in this position, instead of bending our elbow, we're going to keep our elbow straight and just go straight out. And then when you get to the top, hold it for 2 seconds. 1, 2, come back down. This is going to work on more rotator cuff muscles, make them more resilient to injury. So this workout you should do probably 3 times a week throughout the year during the off-season, preseason, and during the season. And this will keep the small muscles in your arm in good shape to prevent injury. Now you don't have to overdo it. Your instincts may tell you to keep bumping up weight, keep getting stronger, but that's actually not going to help in this case because when you use bigger weights, you're actually going to start engaging your bigger muscles and your lesser muscles will not be worked as much. And if you don't engage your bigger muscles, then your smaller muscles won't be able to handle the big weights and could get injured. So you should just stick with the small weights and keep toning down those muscles, making them stronger and leaner so that they can withstand more force and not get injured.